Well, how many days a week did you train when you made your best progress?
Well, like most anyone, I started in the beginning. You know, it was recommended only three times a week would be the maximum time any person should uh, exercise.
Hmm.
But then when I started, I was stupid enough. I didn't read the training system correctly, and it says he's then you do so many repetitions, so much, and then the next training day, which didn't say you rested the next day, it says the next training day. I took it for a fact. Okay, the next training day I did the same thing, but when it's come to third training day, I would increase the repetitions if I could.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, I trained every doggone day for, 7 days a week. Right after about 3, 4 weeks or whatever, I ass kept dragging. Boy, I was ready to give it up. I thought, this is hell. I can't stand that. I wasn't gaining. I was losing.
Yeah.
But the worst yet, I was so damn tired all the time. Still like train 7 days a week, every day. And this was in the beginning.
Holy smoke.
I mean, in later years, when I came to York and I was doing some training, well, I could train 6, 7 days a week. It didn't mean a damn. But in those days, when I just began, that I was training every day nearly killed me. And I was ready to give up. It wasn't until my brother, who then was working in some lumber camp, after all the coalition work.
You can't be all bad, huh?
Yeah, well, he came back and he said, how you doing training? Oh, Christ. Yeah, I said, it's killing me. I don't know what I can take. He said, why? I explained. He said, you dumb, he called me names. He says, you're supposed to only train 3 times a week. I said, how? I said, well, you said he said, yeah, every third day, which means the next day is a rest day. Well, when I found that out, of course, I tried it, and it works terrific at that. Because I worked in an area where it was in the attic.
Yeah.
So summer got too damn hot. So I had to quit training by about mid-June or the end of June, when it got too damn hot, I quit. Then I began again later in September.
Hmm.
But then I had to quit again when it got so damn cold. Because it was, in those days, there was no sweatpants or anything.
Yeah.
And often my darn hand, because of the bar being so cold, it stuck to my hand. I couldn't even shake it loose.
Whoa.
So it was a miserable time. But I got to admit, I made better progress during those days than I could remember ever. I mean, it just happened lastly. I don't know how, but it's. In other words, I was more methodical. I did so many, and if I could do an extra 1 or 2 repetitions, I did, which meant the following day I would have to increase the weight by maybe 5 pounds more or so.
Yeah.
So that way it works out well. But in a whole year, I said, they train about 5 to 6, 7 months a year because of the climate conditions.
So what did you do when you weren't training then to keep them in shape?
Oh, nothing more or less, except I would be going to the beach or doing things like that, or doing chinning, and when I would go to the YMCA where we would do some parallel bar work and things like you normally you don't know anything about it, but you just do it.
Yes.
But a lot of times when I was working for a while as a shorty jerk, and we would work till midnight. And then when I'd get home, which was around midnight or a little later, I would often train in the backyard in the moonlight, and that was kind of productive.
So you trained 3 days a week. How many sets would your average body put?
In those days, there was no steps. You train in one sets per exercise, which was one exercise for each part of the body. In other words, press was for the arms and shoulders, then bats and the curls for your forearms, wrist, and your bicep and shoulders. Squats would be just free squat, but I did, besides squats, since I couldn't get enough weight on my back, I will do what they call the Jefferson lifting exercises, that sort, which is very good for the leg exercise anyway.
Yeah. So, like, what would a typical workout be for you?
Whatever the old high-low barbells force consisted of, it was all standard exercise.
Yeah.
I was at one I was in, because I didn't even know anything about it. I mean, I didn't even know the difference. All I followed was the suggested list of exercise, and that was it.
So I guess that would be like, what, a baker's dozen or so exercises and one or two.
Oh, yes, that would be at least a dozen, probably more, including everything from curls to pullovers and squats and deadlifts, stiff place doesn't look, and all the other charts, which were the continuation. But there was no, they also, in that same course, they would have what they call advanced training. Well, since I was going to beginner, I was attempting to go into advanced, although some of the exercises looked good to me, and I would include them occasionally.